Go back to you. What are reasonable expectations for the Cowboys?
Well, reasonable expectations are, as long as the defense plays really well, this can be a team that once again wins the division. I mean, can they put up the same 12 wins? It's always tricky. That's a lot to ask, but they should be there. Reasonable expectations are that they get back to a wild card game. Anything beyond that should be a success story and one that ultimately sees the Cowboys in postseason contention.
All right, speaking of the Cowboys, Von Miller, who signed with Buffalo, had this to say: "I told them I was ready to come to the Cowboys." Miller told Dan Palpay of The Athletic, "I would have taken less to go to Dallas because it's Dallas, but I wouldn't take that much less." Remember, Miller is from DeSoto, Texas, and played his college ball at Texas A&M. Sam, did the Cowboys make a mistake by not signing Von Miller?
Jess, is that even a question? Yes, of course, the Cowboys made a mistake by not signing Von Miller. We're talking about Von Miller, not just his outstanding play during the season, but what the Cowboys need is him in the playoffs. Von Miller last year had 4 sacks in the playoffs and a forced fumble. Von Miller in the Super Bowl, and it also resulted in a Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl year the year before, because he got 2 of them, Von Miller had 5.5 sacks and 2.5 in the AFC Championship game. What the Cowboys need, yes, are pass rushers to go along with DeMarcus Lawrence and with Micah Parsons since you lost Randy Gregory. But even more important than that, you need that playoff pedigree. We all saw what happened with the Cowboys last year in the playoffs, the way that they lost. Von Miller to the Cowboys, being from Dallas. I've seen him at North Park Mall all the time in Dallas, from DeSoto. Like, it makes too much sense to not make that move.
No brainer indeed, Jeff. Is the Cowboys defense good enough to actually make a deep playoff run this season?
Well, it is. And I hear Sam, and it makes a lot more sense when he gives that convincing argument. But the other side of this is, yes, this already is a top 10 defense in the NFL. The question, of course, is can you replicate the amount of takeaways that they had last season? I don't know that you can expect to have 27 interceptions every year. Those things, as defensive coordinators say all the time, come in bunches. If they can continue to replicate that, yeah, absolutely. It might be a top 5 defense, but that's the big question. Can they supplement it with pass rush? And maybe that's why Von Miller would have been such a good addition here.
All right, Grounds, I got to ask you.
Jeff, if I could add real quickly, yes, the Cowboys already have a top defense, but here's the great thing. The LA Rams did as well, and when they added Von Miller last year. And they also added Odell Beckham Jr. The good teams keep on adding even better pieces to go and win a Super Bowl. And so the Cowboys, yes, they have a top defense, and they're getting better. I'm excited about their defense. But if you want to go win a Super Bowl, not just win your division or make the playoffs, go add those elite pieces, especially when they would be willing to take a discount to come to your team.
Yeah, but it starts with your leadership. I mean, yeah, Graz, I got to ask you too. I mean, as Mike McCarthy enters year 3, what are your expectations for him?
Look, I agree with these guys about the defense being super important for Dallas, but it's the first time in a while I can remember I go into a season concerned about their offense because the offensive line is showing a little bit of age, right? They lose Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup is coming off an injury. I think the defense is going to have to carry this team, especially through the early part of the season. I know their top line offensive numbers were good last year, but they ran up a lot of scores against division teams, and they're going to have a tougher out-of-division schedule.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I do think Mike McCarthy, though, it starts with him. And Sam, I'm going to give you the final word here. Is currently constructed, are the Cowboys a legit Super Bowl contender?
No, I'll just keep it real simple. No, they're not. They still need some pieces, just like we've seen the great teams add pieces, whether it's a receiver or somebody. They need help to get to the Super Bowl.